Hello my scrappy friends, and a big welcome to my YouTube channel today. It's Melinda Sweetman here with you for another share with the Traci Reed Design team and the beautiful new Grit and Grace collection. I am working with this gigantic photo today. It is about 4 inches high and 12 inches across. I was just showing you that I had hand stitched along the top and bottom edge in gold thread. I did try to put through my sewing machine, but it had a couple of fits, and I also may have had a couple of fits in the process. There is that 12 by 12. If you watch my last video, there is that 12 by 12 vellum sheet of the heart pattern paper. I love it so much. I'm so glad that I printed it how I did. So first things first, I know with that stitching I have added extra dimension to this photo, so I want to make sure that sits flat on my page, so I'm adding in some foam tape here. I also know that I don't want to take up any more real estate on the page with my journaling, so I have made sure I'm making a little pocket, which is what I've got here. It's so easy to make. Literally, I have used a scrap of paper. I was using it in my die cutting machine to cover up things like that I'd ink blended on, so that my pretty ink blending didn't get dents and marks and stuff in it. And so I made myself a little pocket. It's going to sit behind, and it's really easy to do. Basically just find a scrap of paper and cut it so it is the right height, with a little bit of extra at the bottom to fold up, and then fold it around the card that you want to pop into it. Excuse me for my voice. And then glue the two sides. It's so easy. If anyone wants like a tutorial on just that bit, leave me a comment below and I can do that for you. I have got this little pendant at the top that I wanted to hang over the top of the photo but be attached to the journaling card to make it easy to pull it in and out. So I've also hand stitched that on there. I've printed some more pattern papers, and to save paper I actually printed those two onto one 12 by 12, knowing that I was going to cut them both into not as wide strips. So I'm just using my photo to get a guide of where I want to cut them based on the other elements that I have also chosen. So I love this photo so much. This is my big child. We recently took some time away in Bustleton, which is just an hour and a half from home, and one afternoon we went down to the beach to watch the sunset. And as you can see from the photo, it was pretty overcast, so we didn't get our normal spectacular sunset over the ocean, which is quite okay because I got this instead. And as I was looking around, I saw him just sitting on these rocks looking out at the Indian Ocean, and I was just like, wow, this is pretty spectacular. I've got 2 teenage boys now. They are both still happy to hang out with their mum. I posed the question to them, do you guys want to go away and spend a couple of days with just me? And they were like, yeah. And I'm so grateful that that I've been blessed with the children that I have been. I know that I have a part in helping them to become the people that they are, but also they are who they are. So I'm incredibly grateful that they are the people in this world that get to call me mum. They, like I said, they're quite happy to come away for a couple of days with their mum. One's 13, one's nearly 16. And we had fun. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't all sunshine and roses. There were times when I think we were all ready to murder each other. I think that's pretty normal. But yeah, so having a look around, I was just like, wow, I'm so lucky that I live where I live, because we do live in a beautiful country. And with the state of things all over the place at the moment, there are definitely worse places we could be, and I'm so grateful that we're here. And yeah, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about is it's so easy with everything at the moment, with all the big and heavy stuff, to really sit in the hard stuff. And I find myself intentionally looking for reasons to be grateful, and to find the hidden stories in photos that I take. It's really easy to take a photo and go, oh, we were at the Bustleton jetty this is the end of the bus jetty, you know, and it's Jacob, Hunter, and Mum, and this is the date. But to look for the hidden stories that are not so obvious, I've been doing that for many years, and I find that it really helps to tell some more dynamic stories in my scrapbooking, and it, yeah, it also helps to find other things to focus on. So if you scrapbook for any of the same reasons that I do, which is the storytelling, I think it is a really great way of framing your photos when you take them. I do intentionally, when I take a photo, I kind of look around and see what story I want to tell with that particular photo, and I found that it does get me some very interesting stories to tell. So what I just went through while I was babbling on, my vellum page somehow is a tiny bit shorter than 12 by 12. Obviously I could have cut down my background paper, which meant I would have had to cut down those other layers. Because I did that hand stitching, I didn't want to cut it down because I didn't want it to all come apart. So what I did, I found the places where I knew I was going to overlap things over the vellum, and I tore it and stretched it so it fit straight across that whole 12 by 12, which worked perfectly. I did decide to go in with a bit of mixed media. I have got Uncharted Waters here. Beautiful colour, I love it so much, and it goes perfectly with this collection. I've got a text stencil here, and I'm just adding some of that to my background. I have faded it at the top and the sides, but I felt like it was a sudden stop on the left hand edge, so I've moved the stencil over. I'm making sure it's straight because it is text. I did want it straight, and I'm just adding a little bit more so that it does fade out a bit more and looks more organic. I'm going to add a bit more down to the bottom here, onto the bottom left, where I know that more embellishment is going. And all I'm doing is making sure that I'm adding colour underneath where the photo is going, that's where it's going to be darkest. And then as I go further down or up the page, it fades out. Alright, so that is, I really like how that looks. I'm going to come in with some splatter here. I did make sure that my stenciling was completely dry, but because it's not a heavy coat, it didn't take very long. Then I've come in with the Uncharted Waters Distress Oxide Spray, and I've sprinkled that all over for splatters. Now what I'm doing here is I've just got some plain water, some clean plain water, and I'm sprinkling that all over as well, just to oxidize some of that ink. It is really subtle in the finished design, but I really like that it's not like that. It does add that little bit of texture. Gold works beautifully with this collection, so I've come in with my Hide Swap Gold Colour Shine as well. Let that dry, and it looks so pretty. I'm going to lose most of it underneath my photo, but that was definitely my intention. Because this is such a big piece I'm sticking down, I have removed the backing tape the backing tape halfway and placed it, and then I've removed the rest of the tape backing. Here's my title. So I did design this one in Photoshop before I printed anything, and to all of the embellishment pieces actually, they are all from the embellishment kit, and I have added I've added layers. No, not I've added layers. I've done it so that it looks like it's almost like a puffy sticker. I really love the way that it looks. I can show you how I do that if you're interested. I did also print some plain, like the stickers plain as well, just to see which one I preferred, and I did prefer the look of this one. I really like how they look like they're puffy stickers. It's so fun. Just adding everything down. I am really aware of dimension in my albums So it's something that I'm trying not to go overboard with. In fact, I was putting some layouts into an album the other day, and I realised that in one particular place, it was really stacked high. So I went through and found out the offending culprits and took some of the layers out from behind it, and my album's suddenly looking a lot flatter. I am using some double-sided tape and glue to glue everything down here. Because I've got the mixed media in the background, I don't want anything to fall off. Making sure that still comes out, and I'm just bending this a little bit so that it is obvious and sits right, so it's not sticking straight up in the air. I brought in some enamel dots in 3 matching colours just from my stash. I'm going to sprinkle those across the page. That Belle is my cat. He seems to be following me everywhere I go at the moment. Where if I'm there, he tends to be there with me. So he's visiting me after him. I'm just going to add these 3 lots of enamel dots in 3 colours. One of the colours is cream, so you can see it down the bottom left hand side, but it is harder to see in the other 2 clusters because it is that cream. I think that, I also, I've told you about my little bowl before. There's a bowl that I keep to the left hand side of my cutting mat there. It's a glass bowl and it's just got odds and ends, little bits and pieces, and I saw these butterflies sitting on the top. I thought they will make a really cute addition here, so I'm going to add, I started with these 2 big ones, and then I was like, oh, I'm just going to add a little friend for each of my little butterflies here. They can sit right on the photo, they don't take up much space. I love how this looks. I love that I've been able to tell this story. I have added my journaling in, and it basically is exactly what I said to you earlier about looking around and seeing the things I'm grateful for and documenting those and telling those stories. If you have any questions, please make sure you drop them below. Thank you so much for spending your scrappy time with me. Like I said before, please excuse my voice. I am trying to get over this viral laryngitis. And as always, thanks so much for stopping by. I shall see you in my next video. Have a fantastic scrappy day, my friends.